what is the key to success? Move from plan A to a plan that works before your resources run out. In India, we have too much of a thought process of pleasing the customer that we forget why we are existing or why we have created this startup. So at Lead Angels, that's the time as I was there, full time over there, we had funded nearly 60 startups.
A lot of these people think कि मेरे पास एक अच्छा idea है तो investor पैसा डाल देगा. I get it, but I want you to shed a little bit of light on why would an investor, and what is it that an investor is looking for when they're putting in.
Solo founders की funding बहुत कम होती है, and pandemic के बाद तो और भी ज़्यादा. Are you aware of world's fastest car is owned by a company from which country? A person called me from TBC and he says, do you have any startups for venture capital funding? I said, what is a startup and what is venture capital? We come back to the rule of, 9 out of 10 startups fail. One clear thing, we have, if you do not have a gross margin of more than 70%, we won't even look at you. We see that founders run away from two. One is competition and second is perception. The founder chasing too much of perfection, you will waste your time.
Today's guest is somebody who's very special. He has spent 25 years in the investor ecosystem, starting from private equity to working with some of the best known VC firms in India. He was a part of Agility Ventures. He is a part of Lead Angels, and he's also a part of the Maple Capital Advisors. He has spent a lot of time evaluating and funding in startups, and this is one of the best opportunities for you to understand how an investor thinks, including the mathematics around angel investing as well. So in case you're looking to put in funds in the investor ecosystem, you can start from as low as 10 lakh rupees. Let's get into the podcast.
Glitz and glamour around the whole startup ecosystem has led people to believe that only if I am able to pick up money is when my startup is successful, instead of focusing on getting revenue. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
So there are two aspects to this, I mean, if you can get money without being funded, like typically it happens in a services kind of a model, or if you are an entrepreneur who's already has some access to capital by yourself or through your friends and family. Okay, so I just gave the example of things like Zoho and Latent View and so many others who are there. Now, these guys started on the principle of what? That, hey, I will grow at my pace. I want my independence. Okay, and I will create a strong culture. Startups, as you rightly said, is about rapid scaling, or I would say hyper scaling. Because of certain headwinds that are there, okay, like say pandemic was there, the headwinds were clearly there, and edtech mushroomed like crazy, D2C mushroomed like crazy. But people did not create any moats around it at that time. Okay, so if you say they can plug your wire, then what you're left with, अगर आप आज SEO आपने बंद कर दिया, तो all your जितने भी आपका जो DAU, MAU जो होते हैं, they will all come to a naught.
You have to feed the monster.
Right. And most of this funding, ideally said, and I think most of the people know, is typically, 40 to 50% of it is going to the large
Ad networks,
large IT behemoths of the world, which means the Googles, the Facebook, the Amazon, and Apple. Okay, so they are the ones who are growing. The layoffs right now that are happening are because the way business was growing, you were growing, and now that you have a downturn, you don't need so many people for that, and you have to cut costs because, hey, you run from quarter to quarter, right? And if your numbers are not fine, your stock will drop like a, it will be, I mean, and so from that perspective, if you see, marketing वो हाइपर स्केलिंग जो होती है वो तभी होती है जब आप यू आर कैचिंग द सर्टेन हेडविंड्स. ओके, ऑल्सो वन मोर थिंग, that's why we look at votes or the unfair advantages that you have. Okay, in the lean canvas there is one column of unfair advantage. Did you have a very strong patent? Patent by itself will not, but do you have a moat? Do you have a lock-in with your customer? Okay, so say for example now Gmail, we've been using it for so many years, right? सबके फुल हो गए, अब आपको रेगुलर मैसेज आ रहा है, only 5% left. Would you like to upgrade? Do you think you can actually afford to not upgrade it? So you are spoiled thoroughly well. Same thing with say Prime, first time free of this thing. अब आपने इतना देख लिया, अगले साल आपका अगर बढ़ा हुआ भी है, आप क्या बंद कर दोगे Prime? So that is what the startup mentality is all about. Okay. The interesting part is that why we can't have another Amazon or another Microsoft or another Apple now, why are we not really seeing that kind of a phenomenon? Because these guys are still thinking like startups. And if there's any innovation that comes, they acquire them. Look at OpenAI. I mean, the amount of funding that has gone, he should have said $10 billion. I mean, and they are now leaps ahead of the others who were so-called the AI front runners. Okay, so you need to A, run away from the competition, and B, look at something which is contrary to what everyone is thinking about. That's what I would say. The problem is that most investors, one guy goes in a certain manner and everyone would like to follow that. That's why it's one of your favorite questions, I'm sure, would be whenever you meet an investor, सर आजकल किस में डाल रहे हो? आज की तारीख में स्टैंडर्ड जवाब मिलेगा और सीआई में डाल रहा हूँ, चैट जीपीटी का कोई यूज केस अगर हो जाए, आई एम पुटिंग इन एंटरप्राइज SaaS, D2C I am not touching, EdTech I would touch, I would stay away from bottom. I think this is the best time to do EdTech. Because आपका जितना भी जो क्लटर था वो खत्म हो गया है अभी. Now you can find the actual ones who are solving real problems. I made an investment in a company called Oxypoxy. Okay.
ये सुना है मैंने.
Okay. Now what was it doing? Kids from vernacular families, and these are 2 to 10 years old. Kids from vernacular families. Okay, I will come back to the drawing board. What is the biggest problem with the Indian youths?
Social media addiction, phone addiction.
Unemployment. Okay. Unemployment क्यों होती है? इतने सारे engineers हैं, still they are unemployed. Why? अंग्रेजी खराब है. अंग्रेजी खराब है तो क्या होता है, उसका क्या वो होता है वो मैं समझाता हूँ आपको. I mean, I faced this as a 5-year-old. Okay, when you don't understand, or if someone is speaking in a certain manner, if you don't understand it, you are scared and आपकी नहीं समझ में आता है. तो आपने क्लासेस पूरी अटेंड कर ली, नंबर लिया है, समझे कुछ नहीं हो आप, और समझे नहीं हो तो जब आपसे प्रश्न पूछेंगे तो फिर what will you answer? Right? So this guy he created an app. He was the ex-head of YouTube India and like he was handling education for kids, and he saw how kids were using it. He said, boss, this is a one-way medium. If there's interactivity, the kids from vernacular families can actually, learn English and, get that phobia out of their minds that, oh, this is something beyond their reach. And that's what Oxypoxy is all about. When I heard about this, I just remembered my early days when, I was stammering and I couldn't do anything. So I could do it on my own. I had some teachers and some friends who say help me around. Same thing was with this guy. I mean, his mother was illiterate. Okay, but when he started this and the way it grew, from 60,000 it grew to 1.25 lakh and then 1.5 lakh in a matter of months. Monthly average users. And there were some investors, typical investor से mentality. यार आप YouTube India से हो, हमसे क्यों पैसा मांग रहे हैं? We were an angel network, or we are an angel network. Okay. Second thing is, Evan, how will you monetize this part? Another set of people is, यार तुम्हारे इतने सारे अगर यूजर्स हैं, तुम एडवर्टाइजमेंट क्यों नहीं निकाल रहे हो इसके ऊपर? मोनेटाइज क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो इसको? When he stepped out after the pitch, I told him, बॉस जब तक तेरे 1 मिलियन नहीं होता एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक ही मत डालना. वो अभी तक नहीं डाल रहा. He said he's more than 3 million say MAUs right now. Okay, and so, but it is hitting at the base of the pyramid. This is a real problem. Okay, so if you're solving a real problem, I would love to support that. Second investment I have is like a company like Agrix, which is again, helping marginal farmers get timely inputs, whether it's seeds, whether it's tractor, whether it's fertilizer, pesticides, whether it's a harvester, or whether it's someone who can help them, take the have the offtake and create marketing, use the marketing linkages to help monetize whatever they have produced. From 0 to 1 crore per month. I mean, it could, for all purposes, it could be crossing $2 million this year. Okay. So, and you hit at the base of the pyramid, you're sure to strike that pot of gold. Find the problem well and find the customer segment that will use it.
I basically wanted to understand the mindset of philosophy of how investors basically decide on the funding aspect. I'll give you an example. There are industries जिसमें लोग बोलते हैं कि मतलब ये कभी प्रॉफिटेबल हो ही नहीं सकती. जैसे उबर वाला बिजनेस हो गया, जोमैटो डिलीवरी वाले बिजनेसेस हो गए, जिसमें बिजनेस इसमें आपका मतलब नो मैटर हाउ मच स्केल यू अचीव, आपका मार्जिन उतना बनेगा ही नहीं. आप हमेशा लॉसेस में रहो.
If your unit economics are not fine, then obviously वही होगा.
Right? लेकिन फिर भी वैसे बिजनेसेस में पैसे जाते हैं और वहां पे भी there are behemoths which have been created, and then people say कि यार they are trying to capture as much market as they can, and once they have captured enough market, then they can probably sell them other stuff as well. How does an investor perceive this? Is it the FOMO factor? What is it?
You know the razor and blade theory? If you have a product which you sell initially, which works like a razor, and the customer comes back for the blade every now and then.
तो upselling ही होगी ना ये तो. Then you're selling them other stuff once they have bought the razor.
So if you see Amazon, I mean, its main business now, I mean, its profit generator was not the e-commerce.
Yeah.
It was the cloud that they were selling. It was the website being developed for all the people who wanted to sell through Amazon. I mean, a clear-cut case of the thing. Prime that we are viewing, Prime Video. अभी उससे वो, I mean, 2 साल तक उससे कुछ पैसा नहीं कमा रहा था वो, except for the subscription, right? But he had you hooked. आप प्राइम चालू रखोगे, आपकी सेम डे डिलीवरी आ जाती है, आप बाहर नहीं जाओगे, you won't go to a shop to pick it up, you'd rather pick it up from here. रिटर्न भी हो जाएगा, अच्छा आता है, फिट होता है, नहीं होता है, I will return it. They have got you hooked. I mean, hooked, line and sinker, everything. Okay, I mean, can you imagine now? And you save all the trouble, your petrol, your parking, and फिर जाकर फिर वो चेंजिंग रूम में ट्राई करो, इतना सारा आपका टाइम जाएगा, ट्रैवल, you're in metros, so much time goes in reaching that place only, right? Like say for example, you didn't get your extension cord, right? You ordered from Blinkit and it came. Okay. Of course, we could do that. Remember this? Okay. So basically, the thing is, see, that's exactly the thing. Many of these loss-making things are there. That hyper-growth happened. Like, say, if you take the example of WhatsApp, it didn't create any revenue this thing. But if you see today, all of us, we wake up and we look at our WhatsApp and we sleep. Just before we sleep, we check our WhatsApp. और नींद में कभी उठते हैं तो भी देखते हैं अरे किसने कुछ भेजा क्या, ग्रुप में क्या गया, अरे क्या मसला हो गया, right? So there, that's exactly they've got you hooked. Now, if he couldn't generate any revenue out of that, but Facebook acquired that, and they made tons of revenue from that. Because based on जिससे आप मैसेज कर रहे हो, आपकी फेसबुक पर अगर जाते हो, आपको उसकी फीड पहले दिखती है, उसकी कोई पोस्ट आती है, उसकी कोई बर्थडे आती है, या if he is not your friend, why? I mean, this is a friend suggestion for you. Okay, a lot of people have moved out from Facebook now, but WhatsApp continues, Instagram continues, and now you have the new threads.
So basically, you're saying that razor and blade theory is what it is.
So what is not of value? Okay.
मतलब मेरा टेक ये है कि अगर एक बिजनेस मॉडल है जो कि शायद काम नहीं कर रहा है लेकिन उसमें यूजर्स आ रहे हैं, तो फिर भी उसको
That community becomes exciting for someone. WhatsApp had created a community wherein nearly 500 million of the 500 million folks were on WhatsApp. And the way it was growing, it was exciting. OpenAI is exciting. Why is someone putting $10 billion? Why did Microsoft acquire LinkedIn? They didn't have any much revenue. But now you link it with, now for Microsoft, it's of great value. Prime Video, I mean, they pay a huge amount. So you know how much they spend on synthetic? Okay, so you take that to Brahman and you be, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, $200 million.
Wow.
Once you have the guys hooked onto it. Now if you see, okay, अब जो भी अच्छे title है, and they got these indies like Liongate and all those kind of things. उसकी picture देखनी है, rent it out.
I've rent it out. Yeah.
Okay. So you get a flavor of the thing. So basically the thing is, what startups tries to do is, okay, hey, I am doing this, I will do it in a faster, better this manner. I will grow, say Blinkit model. Do you think they're really making money in such
Not yet.
Okay, they're not. But Blinkit being part of Zomato, that makes it interesting. Now Zomato knows not only using your big data and using your algorithms, you can actually predict, बॉस इसका मैं नेक्स्ट ये जब ये Zomato पर आएगा मैं ये वाली फोटो पहले इसको दिखाऊं. Okay. And so what you're trying to do is and companies that succeed are the companies that change your mindset. So Apple has changed our mindset. Microsoft has changed our mindset. Okay, Windows we are using. If someone is using a Windows, it's very tough for him. Like I can't sit on a Mac. And the people who are on Mac, they will never sit on. So yes, so startup is basically, they tend to create a community. Will this become exciting for someone else? Okay, or can I grow say big? Okay. Now, like say someone was telling me what, just the other day I was speaking to someone. So, I was speaking to a person who's into Asian food delivery. So I said, so what's happening? क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं? He said, we are getting incoming interest from someone who is one of the largest, I'm like apart from Zomato and this thing, They are a very large food delivery kind of a guy. I said, it's strategic, you should go, right? So, no, they don't want, they just want us, and they're happy to participate, but they've not been really successful in the Asian side of it. Everything else has worked for them, and that's why they are looking at us. So, so mergers and acquisition is about what? And I think I would like to talk about this later. Please do remember to ask on M&A. That's my next 15 months. So what I plan to do. Okay. So I'm like, M&A is what? Hey, here is someone who is willing to sell, and here is someone who wants that piece. Okay. हर किसी के लिए कोई ना कोई बना. That is the mindset that you work with. Okay. And if you do it in a timely fashion, if you put some egos aside, you will create a phenomenal kind of thing. That's a different matter that the failure rate in M&A is also pretty high. Okay. But yes, what I have, and that's why, so like I just talking to another guy. So they were into EVs as well as EV, so EV management and EV charging also. So the investor very interestingly told them, suppose तेरा charging जो setup जो है, sell that up and have a deal that you can have a deal that you have an upper hand or some leeway or some better terms for your guys to charge. But don't keep this. That's why, startup is all about focus. And if you're talking about focus, the primary reason for focus is that if you are a singular entity, it is far better for anyone to acquire you. If you are into multitude of things, then you'll have to break it into sum of parts. And those sum of parts may not be as valuable. So that's why people insist on, and so again, resources are limited. You need to be focused on something. And once you're focused on something, only then will you deliver value to your customer. If you deliver value to your customer, then you will create some value for you.
So what you're technically saying is here, either you focus on the margins, and if the business model doesn't have enough margins, but the audience is liking what you are giving, like for example,
True. As I said, 90% of the startups fail. Of the ones that succeed, 60%, more than 66% are those that have drastically changed from their earlier plans. Okay, so what is the key to success? Move from plan A to a plan that works before your resources run out. So, a startup who's not making, there are startups who are not making revenue, or if they're making revenue, they're not making profit. If you're not making profit, then your resources are what your runway is left, right? So you need to be a very good storyteller. You need to be able to convince people around you that, hey, we're just there. Okay, and if you are able to do that, then funds will come your way. And if your community is a strong one, if those, so like more interesting metrics to look at is what is the repeat pattern of your customers? How often, so what is the churn rate? What are the pet peeves of your customer base? Are you working on those? And I would add one more thing. A lot of the founders and a lot of startups focus on, they share too much into what the customer is trying to say. You should have your fixed parameters. Okay? Why do you should have your fixed parameters, and a little flexibility around that is fine, but you can't be catering to whims and fancies to each and every founder who wants, no, I want this handle not over here, but 2 inches to the left or half inch to the right, and up like that. So then what happens is your focus is not going on product or sale or say making things better. Your time is being wasted to, I mean, hey, we just talked about this, right? Apple said, boss, I won't keep the jack. A lot of people said, hey, what the hell you're doing? But you don't find any jacks in it. No audio jacks in there at any of these, right? So ideally said, and that's why enterprise SaaS companies are being very successful in US because they have a mindset, boss, I have this burger and I have this Coke. You want Pepsi? Go next door. Okay, so they don't. I mean, customer is good. In India, we have too much of a thought process of pleasing the customer, that we forget why we are existing or why we have created this startup. That is one thing which we need to be looking at. You should create that basic thing, not look for perfection, and focus around what you want to deliver to the person. Hear your audience and see if that makes economic sense from your perspective. Okay? And then get into it.
And if it doesn't, then pivot.
Exactly.
वैसे ये exit strategy कितनी important होती है इन्वेस्टर? मतलब when you're putting in money, you at the end of the day you're an investor. इन्वेस्टर का काम क्या होता है? पैसा लगाना और उसका रिटर्न देखना. तो ये जब आप स्टार्टअप इन्वेस्टिंग में घुसते हो, बहुत सारे ऐसे आइडियाज होंगे जो कि शायद मतलब वेरी नॉवेल आइडियाज, बट यार इसमें एग्जिट निकालना मुश्किल है. पैसा बनाना हमारे लिए पैसा बनाना मुश्किल है. फिर मैं एक बार डाल दूंगा, फिर ये लाइफस्टाइल बिजनेस बन जाएगी, फिर रिटर्न नहीं निकलेगा. कैसे? हाउ डज दैट बिट वर्क?
Okay. I will ask you a counter question. Okay. कोई आपके पास आकर अगर कहता है, sir, all the stationery supplies of schools, I have created a platform for it. Why don't you invest 4 crores in it? I've already got 10 schools who are taking my services from me. Would you invest?
यार बिजनेस मॉडल के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. सबसे पहले तो कितना पैसा बनाओगे, और सेकेंडली मेरा एग्जिट कब होगा. मेरे को इसमें मैंने लगा दिया पैसे, तो हाउ आर यू मतलब how do I make the money back?
जो मेरा persistent framework जो है उसमें entry barrier जो है, there are no entry barrier now. भाई, you take it 10, you'll take it to 100, then be 10 more people who will take it to other places. I don't see a differentiation around here.
ये डिफरेंशिएशन की बात भी नहीं है. मैं बोल रहा हूँ चलो मान लो आपको परसिस्टेंट स्टार्टअप भी मिल गया, ठीक है, लेकिन इसमें आपका अर्निंग पोटेंशियल भी है. मतलब इसमें 2 सिनेरियोज है. एक तो ये है कि यार मैंने 1 करोड़ डाल दिया, आप पैसा बनाने लगोगे, उसके बाद आपको नेक्स्ट टाइम उठाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी.
नहीं, वो नहीं होता. वो नहीं होता. ओके, वो वैसा फिर बहुत बिल्डा ही होता है. लाइक 1 out of
But does it really? Because from what I understand, because मैंने भी उठाया हुआ है, तो मुझे पता है कि once you have raised money, you're on a treadmill. मतलब वो फिर आप एक उठाया तो फिर one founder's job is just raising funds.
Exactly. I mean, so a lot of people, it's like I've been on a lot of talks with founders also. So people are asking, so when is the right time to raise funds? Okay, so I tell all those founders, if you're a founder, you are 24/7 raising funds. In your thoughts, in your sleep, when you get up, when you're out, because your sustenance is there till such time as you have a runway. Your runway is not there, you're gone, kaput. It's all over, right? So आपने अगर अभी पैसे डाला है, most of these rounds that you happen to construct typically is that you take in money, okay, which will last you for the next hopefully 12 to 18 months. Okay, उससे ज़्यादा मैं आपको दूंगा नहीं. Okay, and you need to prove yourself. जो आपने थीसिस जो बताई है वो आप वो 12 से 18 महीने में करोगे, and then you take on the, while you are at it, अगर 12 महीने का रनवे है तो आपको 7वें महीने के बाद से पैसा ढूंढना चालू कर देना। ओके, बट मैं तो फिर भी कहता हूँ, मैंने कहा बॉस आज आपने पैसा अगर वो कर दिया तो यू ऑलवेज बी इन द गुड बुक, एंड यू ऑलवेज बी इन टच विद इन्वेस्टर, टेल देम यू आर नॉट रेजिंग फंड्स राइट नाउ, बट बी इन टच विद देम। That's what most people don't do, you know. Most founders are like, they will come to you, okay, सर मेरे को इतना रिस्क है ना, आप डालोगे क्या? बॉस अभी तो नहीं डालूंगा मैं, फिर वो भूल जाते हैं। ओके, देन फिर जो मैंने जो फीडबैक दी है, कई लोग हैं जो मेरी फीडबैक के ऊपर, सर, एंड आई normally try to give feedback to a founder because this is the reason I am not investing. He corrects those part and he picks some money from elsewhere. When he is taking up from say over there, ideally he should be getting in touch, but when he don't, so that is the way the industry is. I mean, they're in too much of a hurry, and that's why, you know, most of these startups do not create a culture. They don't create employees who are like and who are actually entrepreneurs. What a good startup is I mean, if you're not there, you should be able to, you know, do the job, what is to be done. They have simply become the thing now, boss, Excel में मैंने लिखा है, इतने बंदे मैं हायर करूँगा, इतने बंदे इसके अंदर से 20% लोग परफॉर्म करेंगे, 80 उसके अंदर से 30% मे बी दे परफॉर्म, 50% वैसे अपने आप से निकल जाएंगे या मैं निकाल दूँ। Why do you have to work like that? There are people who work from the Excel perspective. No, create a difference. Understand what your folks are. Understand what your customers are. Speak to them. Okay.
Interesting. So I think thoda sa, sir, I want to touch upon your, as an investor, day-to-day operations क्या होता है? मतलब how does a VC firm or a fund or a company which invests in company, how does their org structure look like?
So there are 3 forces to it. One part is, okay, so like if there's any institutional investor, you know, so there are 3-4 elements to it. One is, one set of team is looking at investor relations. So you're always looking out for new LPs, you're looking out for, you could be looking out for angels, you could be looking out for institutional investors to join you and so things like that. There'll be one set of team which will be doing the curation. So, and along with, while you're doing the curation, there is another, I mean, it could be the GPs who could have that charisma, because you need that inbound traffic also, right? And so I mean, you have to show your presence at various places. Then, I mean, there's a little bit of giving back to the community. So you do a lot of, you know, you go and meet out various founders, various incubators, accelerators, interact with them, tell them, you know, what your investment thesis are. And I mean, you also then of course, once your investment is there, there's another set of things which is into portfolio management. And within the portfolio management, there is one side also which is, you know, beyond, I mean, this is what you're doing and what you need, I will help you get that. Whether it's from HR side, whether it's from funding side, whether it's from marketing side, you need some expertise. And I mean, angel networks that way work out pretty well, you know, because you got many of those guys as your investor. And you can actually reap those benefits right there. VCs also try to do that and have been doing that. And at Lead Angels, we also have an arm which is specifically focused around helping our portfolio raise from external funds, and you know, for the next rounds and other things. That's
so technically कितने 5 से 7 लोगों की टीम होगी, उससे ज़्यादा बड़ी तो नहीं होनी चाहिए।
like
कितने होंगे, मतलब how big is the team then?
So the teams are typically you have full time, you would have around say like 12 to 15.
That's still big.
Okay. Because see, the kind of things that you are looking at is, you are looking at nearly 200 plus companies.
तो इसमें क्या है, मतलब there is one team जो क्यूरेशन, जो इनबाउंड संभालती है, वो ज्यादा बड़ी टीम होती है, या फिर जो पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज करती है वो ज्यादा टीम होती है, मतलब हाउस द सबसे ज्यादा लोग किस
Curation and investment is the combination of the thing. Okay, so curation and investment is a combination. So I mean, you have a lot of focus around that, because one is you say curate. Once you have gotten it, then you need to showcase it to the IC. You need to talk to investors. You need to tell your thing. You need to help them with their pitch sessions, and then finally find out how much are we ready to commit. Even prior to that, so like while the IC is there, so there are times when we say that okay, this valuation is high. So maybe before we do say things, we say get into the track. So if some of the senior folks actually get with the founder and negotiate the valuation with him. In most cases, people are looking at following one of the leading, follow the leader kind of a phenomena is there. But I mean, here we make a difference, and if we stuck for category, we have not stopped ourselves. We got it.
तो इसमें दो साइड है, सप्लाई साइड है और मतलब what is the investor side where you get the funds, and so technically a fund also basically raises money. You people are also raising money for the fund, is what I understand. Like a startup is reaching out to people for money, you people are also reaching out.
True. And then you need to secure. So coming back to your exit scenario. Okay, that was partially answered question of mine. So when I am evaluating a company, I have, since it's an angel fund, I have a horizon of, ideally I'm looking at a horizon of 4 to 5 years. 4 to 5 years, I should start getting my exit opportunities. And when I'm looking at 4 to 5 years, if I'm getting an exit, for me to get a 10x, that is the base minimum. Ideally, I would want a little more than that. But the first thought that I do when I'm evaluating that company is, again, on that size of the market, scalability, can he actually, keep away the competition? Is there a moat enough that he will grow unabated without any competition trying to spoil that market? Like you would have seen, D2C, a lot of guys that say, come in and name me one brand which you are actually hooked on. Some companies do make a difference, like Tags is there. Go Desi is again one of our portfolio companies. Now these are catering to your, they're taking you to your rustic side or the nostalgic side. वो इमली pop जो है Go Desi की. Now you can, your kid can enjoy it and your mom can enjoy it, So like दादी से लेकर छोटे बच्चे तक can enjoy it, And they're not using any preservatives and all those kind of things. They're using things like jaggery and then okay. So such kind of a thing you would still say remember, Otherwise, your standard thing is same thing on the food delivery side also, if you see. How many guys किससे आपने repeatedly उससे ही मंगवाते हो?
ज्यादातर तो एक से ही मंगाते हैं यार आजकल, पहले स्विच करते थे
नहीं जोमेटो से तो मंगवाते हो। जोमेटो में कौन से स्टोर से मंगवाते हैं? वो दैट्स बेस्ड ऑन योर पैलेट, आज यार आज साउथ इंडियन खाए थे, ओके नहीं यार वो
आई एग्री
है ना?
या
So the platforms are alive. D2C are those D2C which have been able to create a hook with those families, with the customer sets. They made a difference. And if they made a difference, it is not just on the product alone. It is the story around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you see, go there, see when we went.
Yeah.
So the first thing was there's an impact. There are rural women who are being given an employment, who are coming and making these. Okay, these are rural recipes and all, and you're not using any preservatives or things like that. So that story जो आती है उसके पीछे, that makes the difference. And being a startup founder, you have to be a good storyteller.
पर इसमें सर मैं बस वो समझने की कोशिश कर रहा था कि when you people raise funds, जैसे एक स्टार्टअप का एक होता है कि इस राउंड में मैंने इतना उठाया तो मेरी इतनी वैल्यूएशन होगी, ठीक है? तो when a fund raises funds, when a VC firm raises funds, because I think you have worked in private equity also, you have worked in angel networks also, मैं बस ये समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि एक तो यार ये अलग कैसे होती है? Is it the amount of money that they deploy which makes a difference, या फिर legalities में भी कुछ अंदर होता है? Number one. And number two is when you people pick up fund, तो आप लोग का भी कुछ होता है क्या कि this is my, इस बार मैं 50 मतलब I picked up 50 million which I will deploy in XYZ number of companies, and then I will generate these many on an average. This is the amount of return that I'm going to generate and give back to. How does that maths work out?
So the fund operations are as different from the angel funds. Angel fund is typically, it's a single check going into it.
But it is given by
say, multiple people, and it is at the discretion of the investor. He may not want to join the drama.
So you're saying there are 150 people, let's say 100 people.
So say like you have 350 people. So let's assume you got 400. Okay. Or when we had it at say 100 kind of thing, out of 100, if you have active members, which are, let's assume there were 50 active members. Okay. Out of those 50, typically, 20% will be interested in a particular thing. And from there, there can be a drop. Now, the moment you move to 300, so if you have 300 members, okay, 20% of them would be 60 people. But 300 में से क्या होगा आपका? 200 people would typically be active, so 200 का 40% 40 हो गया. 40 लोग अगर कर रहे हैं और 5-5 लाख हर एक किसी का टिकट साइज है, तो I can go to 2 crores easily.
As an individual who's a part of an angel network, how does the angel network help them get returns?
So number one is I find you curated opportunities. Okay, I work along with you. I help you. I help with all the due diligence, all the legality and everything that is there. Once your money is invested, okay, because see, and it is extremely important from the due diligence point of view. Not just the business due diligence, but there are some cases, wherein your compliance may not be fine. Someone may not have paid the GST this thing. So when I invest, my major of my investment may go into, paying the penalty for that compliance that you have not done. Okay. So what I tell my investors is that number one, like VCs, okay, you need to invest at a continuous basis, okay? 5% of your portfolio, between 5 and 8, okay? If you have a little higher risk ability, you may go up to 10. But not more than 10% is what should go into this asset class. Okay, on the that's what I teach them, because yes, we are doing all the things right. We are doing all the due diligences. We've done the study. We're going to be helping him out. But mortality rate jo hai, it won't be 90% because there is curation, there is all this. But there will be 30-40% mortality rate could be there, would be there.
So इसमें sir, how as somebody who has money, how do you view the startup ecosystem as an asset class for a layman investor?
I think it's a person. If you have a portfolio which is sizable enough, and you can set aside, you can set aside even 10 lakh every year, you should get into the system.
So आप बोल रहे हो कि एक स्टार्टअप में पैसा मत डालो, हमेशा
एक पैसे में नहीं डालो, बिल्कुल नहीं.
हमेशा एक पोर्टफोलियो मेंटेन करो.
Portfolio बनाओ, and that portfolio. So what I've always told my
was the right
investors is-
strategy.
Yeah. So whatever the amount is, you typically keep, spread it over 4 to 6 investment in a given year. Okay. There are some guys who go a little more than that. Some guys they're restricted to. But if you're not doing 4, then it's better you do not get into this system. Because ideally, in a span of 3 years, you're looking at a portfolio size of at least 12 to 15, if not more. Okay. Now, in each of these companies, we are looking at will this be a 20 bagger or not? Will this really scale up or not? Will this be a 10 bagger or not? Okay. And keeping that in mind, I don't visualize being wrong across 100% of my this thing. I think I have a good shot with 20% of my investments riding on that thesis. Even if 10% of it rides on that thesis and gives me that 20x, then I've got my fund back. Okay. 40% of my portfolio dies out. Okay. Assuming I have only 10 investments. Okay. Let's say 15 investments also. So 40% of say 15 would be 6. 6 have died out. Okay. There is one company that gives me a 20x. Okay. And the balance out of the 15, 8 companies that are left, even if I get a 2 crossover there, you tell me what am I sitting on?